first SEC road trip of the season?
We are continuing to learn and improve. I think, the first week of the season brought some highs and some lows, but like I told the team Sunday after the game and today before practice, I think if you approach it the right way, some of the failures that are the toughest, and Sunday was a tough one for us. We finally got some butts in the seats. Big game, we had some momentum, and we just really didn't play well. And it wasn't exactly the technical things that bothered me the most. I think there were parts of the game where we looked like the team that I know, and then there were parts of the game where we looked really deflated. And then, like I said in the post-game press conference, credit to Kentucky because they were just hot. I felt like they couldn't miss. They shot the ball well. They moved the ball well. They certainly were the better team. But I would have liked to see us improve from that game by making sure that we learn from it. So I'm not a doomsday kind of coach. Like that was a tough day, but we can learn some really valuable lessons if we approach it the right way. The sun's going to rise the next day. We have 2 big games this week. So that's what we're trying to do. We give them a day off. They started school this week. We're back into our routine, which I love. And then we hit the practice court hard today. And I think we're all learning, like we can make a couple of changes, all of us, our coaches, our players, so that we can be a better team on Thursday and an even better team again on Monday. And that's the goal, right? That we continue to get better throughout the season. So this second week, I'm excited to see how we respond from the good and the not so good of the first week.
All right, go ahead and open the floor for questions. We'll start with Atlanta Morris, Fantasy Sports 24/7. Go ahead.
You guys have a tough stretch coming up with Ole Miss, LSU, and Tennessee. How do you just kind of put an emphasis on how important each game is without, letting your team focus too far ahead, but also making sure that they understand, the importance of the next 3 games, obviously being pretty tough stretch?
Yeah, I think by this point they do understand that every single game holds weight. What we've tried really hard to do, even before this year, the years before this one, is prepare every day like it's the most important game of the season. So where we have to make some adjustments now is maybe our practices have to be shorter. We're in that part of the season. We have some kids that are playing heavy minutes. We have to lock in a little bit more on film. And we have to make sure that we are all understanding the strategy of the game plan and that we execute it that way. So there's lots of little tweaks that we can make. They know the importance of the games, but I try much more to focus on us and making sure that we're ready to go, that we know what we're supposed to do, and no matter who walks in our door that night, that we're ready to play them and be successful.
Yeah, what's kind of your plan for handling some of these teams that have a lot of bigger post players, considering that, you all don't?
Yeah, we have enough size. I've never been the tallest team is a better team. I do think you have to be smart, and I do think you have to play physical. And I think some of the things we can do is utilize our lineups differently, play different kinds of defenses, making sure we're paying attention to the matchups and how we want to defend them if we have one that's not favorable, and continue to work on that in practice. I also think if we can do a better job in our full court pressure, we won't have to sit as much in the half court when teams are trying to post us up. So it's certainly something we have to focus on because it's not a strength of ours, but it also doesn't have to be a weakness as long as we approach it the right way.
Yeah, having had a couple games where you only played, about 8 players, are you planning to kind of expand the rotation at all to prevent fatigue?
I'm toying with it. Yes, I am. And we have some good players. I think at the end of the day, I don't think anything is broken with our team, but I think there are ways that we can improve. And I include myself in that. So obviously going to take a look at rotations, at the ways we prepare for games, at the ways we recover, at the game day, operation. But I don't think anything's broken. I think we had a tough game. And so what we have to do now is learn and make those small tweaks. And that's one of them I'm looking at that maybe will change. We'll see. It's to be determined. Most of that's up to them. They make me play them, they'll go on the floor.
Do you think your post players can learn a lot from Sunday's game, facing probably one of the bigger teams you'll face in the SEC with 6'7", 6'5", 6'4", all in there at the same time?
On Monday?
No, sorry, on Sunday with Kentucky.
Yeah. They were tall, but they weren't physical. So they had length, but it's different than even we played, Georgia. That was more physical. They did have length. What was the question?
Just Camille and some of the other post players maybe learning how they can score against some of the bigger players that they'll face?
I felt like we got some good shots.
Yep.
I mean, we put her in those kill spots, like here in the short corner, on the elbow. I don't think it matters who's defending her. She's going to be able to get her shot. We work on that in player development. So whether they're taller or stronger, again, if you're a better basketball player, you're a better basketball player. But I felt like for long stretches of the game, they were the better team. So we definitely could have taken better advantage of some of the spots that we had them. Better ball movement could have been one. I felt like the ball stuck a little bit, especially in the second half. We took some quick shots. But honestly, I think it was sometime in the third quarter, we could have cut it to 7 with a wide open 3 by Michaela. And we missed that one, then we missed the next one, then all of a sudden we're down by 18. And you could see that deflation, which can't happen. We were right there. Playing as poorly as we did, we were right there. So when you think about, like, how do you prepare for that? I just prepare our players to play against whatever they're gonna see. There's nothing, I can't get any more size in the locker room, but I can make the size that we have continue to improve and get better and more confident in what they can bring to the court, and that's what we have to focus on.
Looking to Thursday against Ole Miss, what's the biggest thing you're wanting your team to focus on just going up against the personnel that they have there?
I want us to focus on, if we're X's and O's, I want us to take care of the ball. I want us to defend at a much better clip, much more consistently, making them take tougher shots than we were allowing Kentucky to take. Focusing on actual personnel, so knowing what kids want to do and taking that away from them. And then for us, I would like to see us get a great shot every time up the floor. I'd like to see the ball move a little better, more offensive movement. I would like the tempo to be in our favor. I just would like us to see us play a better team game than we did on Sunday, more like we played against Georgia.
Your next couple games have some teams with some really good guards. How do you prep, Michaela to go up against a higher level of guard play than what she's faced before?
We have some really good practice players that are very good, and jokingly, but not jokingly, we talk about that in film. Like, okay, Georgia Amore was a really good player, but a lot of times in practice, we can't guard our practice players either. Mm-hmm. And they'll joke around because they're guys, well, that's not gonna happen. Well, it actually did. It did happen. So if we can learn how to lock them up, then we'll be able to lock up most of the guards that we face. That doesn't mean we're going to keep them scoreless, but if we can keep them under pressure and make them take tough contested shots, and I'm okay with that. It's the wide open ones, it's the wide open layups, it's letting them control the game that just can't happen. But we do have practice players that can simulate that for us, and she'll tell you if you ask her. We have those guys that'll help prepare, and the guards on our team are pretty good too. They can help her as well.
Going on the road for the first time in the SEC, with so much success last year going on the road in the conference, what can you take from that, especially with so many players who are part of that team?
Just confidence, knowing that that's something that we've done really well for the past couple of years, like you said, but locking in as well. I like being on the road because there's less distraction, and I think the team does too. They get to spend more time together. It's a great way to build team unity, and we're going on the road at a great time. Because right now is a huge growth opportunity and moment for us. And I'm gonna keep saying it because it's true. This could be really pivotal the last couple days in the growth of our team this year. So it's a perfect time for us to go on the road and see what we're made of.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time. Best of luck this week on the road, and thank you down.